Today on Bridge City News, civil liberties advocates are concerned over a newly disclosed federal directive which says Canada's military spies can collect your personal data as long as it supports a legitimate investigation. A massive protest in Hong Kong today saw hundreds of thousands of people marching to protest legislation that would allow people to be extradited to mainland China to face charges. And Canada's women's soccer team gets set for the FIFA Women's World Cup.
Your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News with Paul Arthur.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Alberta drivers are no doubt happy that gasoline prices have dropped since the new provincial government quashed the carbon tax. However, many Lethbridge drivers are expressing frustration with the fact that the price per litre here is still significantly higher than in Calgary and Edmonton. GasBuddy.com puts the average price in Lethbridge at 117.1 cents a litre, but in Calgary, it's not hard to find gas selling for less than $1 a litre. Petroleum analyst Dan McTague says Lethbridge stations may still have inventory left from gas purchased at a higher price, but with new inventory arriving soon, our prices should start to drop as well. Let's hope he's right. 4 Noble Central School students have made a bit of history as they are the final team to have their names inscribed on the Palliser Regional School's Biker Build-Off Challenge trophy. It is the final year for the challenge, which saw the Nobleford team of Ethan Feenstra, Nathan Harrington, Jameen Liriano, and Tyson Vanderweilen coming out on top after putting in over 60 hours to build a drift bike, which is a go-kart motorbike hybrid. The Biker Build-Off Challenge was the brainchild of instructor Ken Sanderson with the Career and Technology Studies course. A mandatory evacuation order for an Alberta Indigenous community that's been in place due to a wildfire has been lifted. It means residents of the Peerless Trout First Nation can return home, but the community remains on an evacuation alert. Alberta Wildfire says the fire threat remains very high. One mandatory evacuation order remains in effect in Alberta for residents of Wabasca, Big Stone Cree Nation, and Chippewan Lake Village in the Municipal District of Opportunity. Mike Flanagan, a wildland fire professor at the University of Alberta, says there are clear signs that the fires burning in northern Alberta are connected to climate change. Scientists say the number of Alberta forest fires have doubled since the 1970s. However, according to one research study, globally, the overall burned area has actually dropped by 25% over the past 18 years. There is speculation that increased human settlement, not climate change, means more fires. In the densely populated state of California, 95% of wildfires are started by humans. Trinity Western University in Langley has cancelled a presentation by a vocal opponent of BC's sexual orientation and gender identity resource, known as SOGI. An event by the same speaker, Jen Smith, was also cancelled at Douglas College days before. A member of Trinity Western's LGBTQ club says students were concerned about their safety after Smith's event in Oak Bay became heated. Co-hosts of Smith's Talk, the Canadian Christian Lobby, say another event is planned at UBC for June 23rd. The Western College of Veterinary Medicine in Saskatoon is celebrating the official opening of their PET CT scanner. The suite's construction and purchase was made possible by a $2.5 million donation from Kathy Rusin, an Alberta businesswoman and philanthropist. Dean of the college, Dr. Douglas Freeman, says the imaging tool can more accurately diagnose medical conditions like cancers than standard imaging tools. Freeman says the technology can help humans because the research on animals will further the work on improving medical treatments for people. He also says the college is in talks with the Saskatchewan Health Authority about expanding access for human scans. The Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation says the vacancy rate in Montreal is in the basement. It was at 1.9% last year, the lowest it's been since the early 2000s. CMHC says the tight market is partly due to the arrival of a large number of non-permanent residents, such as international students and refugees. Other factors include young people putting off buying a home and baby boomers downsizing after retirement. A newly disclosed federal directive says Canada's military spies can collect and share information about Canadian citizens as long as it supports a legitimate investigation. The prospect of defense intelligence agents having personal data about Canadians worries civil liberties advocates because it is unclear just how much is collected incidentally from vast reaches of cyberspace. The directive says data about Canadians, whether collected intentionally or not, may be kept and used to support authorized defense intelligence operations. Raptors fans across Canada are gearing up for Monday's potentially championship-clinching Game 5 in Toronto. Outdoor public viewing spaces that have popped up across the country are expected to expand to accommodate the ever-growing crowds gripped by Raptors fever. In Toronto itself, die-hard fans are lining up days in advance for a spot in the outdoor fan zone known as Jurassic Park.
Once-in-a-lifetime experience, the Raptors can make history. Only Canadian basketball team. 9 minutes to go in the fourth last night. We come back over here. I took a rickshaw back over to my truck, grabbed all my stuff, set up shop last night, and we're here till Monday, till game time. Go Raps, go. A little bit of everything we got.
Yeah.
Steak, bacon, eggs, chips, hot dogs, hamburgers, you name it, we got it.
They're just an amazing team. It may look like we're about to lose, and they always pull it right back and amaze every single one of everybody in Canada.
We weren't sure if there's going to be like a couple hundred people here, or as there were, only 2. So we're number 3 and 4. We're crazy fans. We've been following this all the way, and we're not bandwagoners.
This is my grandpa's hat. It's actually vintage. It's not not like replica. It's like the original. So he's passed away, so he'd be really, really proud to see us here. We've been really following them, playing up basketball, you know, like Steve Nash was a huge inspiration, and now to like see how the game has grown is like so cool. So it's definitely like a historic like moment for all of Canada.
The FIFA Women's World Cup of Soccer is underway in France, and Canada will face Cameroon, the Netherlands, and New Zealand in its Round 1 pool. Canada comes into the tournament ranked number 5 and will play Cameroon in its first game tomorrow. Coach Kenneth Heiner-Muller says they will be careful not to be overconfident against the lower-ranked African team.
They do have a lot of speed up front especially, but also some skillful players in the midfield. And we need to find a way to deal with that. And I think the most important thing for us is making sure that we don't look at the world ranking. Like world ranking, if you're an African team, you play maybe 2 matches per year and that's it. So you can't take anything out of that. But if you look at where they're playing in some of the better leagues in the world. So they got quality players for sure. And we need to find a way to, you know, shut their speed down and shut their skill set down, but I hope we find a way. Been pretty fantastic. Like if you go into that FIFA bubble, we've been struggling a little bit with pitches, but once FIFA has taken over, it looks like the pitches are good. Everything is at the standard that you expect. So yeah, I think if we're in a good space now. Played 8 teams that are here at the World Cup and we conceded 4 goals. So that's definitely all right. We need to put more in though, and we're looking into doing that, and we're working on that. And I think we're looking sharper than we've done in a long time in the last third.
I think the team's just very anxious to get started, especially watching the opening game last night. I think we're all ready to do our part. I think we've got a group of players here that even if they haven't played in a senior World Cup, they've been in youth tournaments. But at the same time, nothing prepares you for that first game of the World Cup. And just knowing that it's going to be chaotic and being okay with that. And it'll be the first team that's able to calm down that will be successful. I mean, the team we have is remarkable now. I mean, it's the most talented group we've ever had.
Finance Minister Bill Morneau and other financial leaders from the group of 20 major economies have wrapped up a meeting in Japan with a pledge to do all they can to protect global economic growth. In a joint communique this morning, group members admit the risks from trade and geopolitical tensions are intensifying, but they say they are reaffirming their commitment to use all available policy tools to achieve strong, sustainable, balanced, and inclusive growth and to safeguard against downside risks. Forecasts for financial markets may get a boost from the U.S. and Mexico working on a deal to beef up border security. U.S. President Donald Trump is tweeting that Mexican officials also agreed to buy more agricultural goods from the United States. Sources tell ABC News the promise to buy more farm products was a verbal one, and the deal to stop tariffs from going into effect only lasts 90 days. Hundreds of thousands of people are marching in Hong Kong to protest legislation that would allow people to be extradited to mainland China to face charges. The show of defiance comes 3 days before Hong Kong's government plans to bring the bill to the full legislature in a bid to win approval by the end of the month. Opponents say China's legal system doesn't guarantee the same rights that defendants in the semi-autonomous Hong Kong receive. Recapping one of our top stories this hour, civil liberties advocates are concerned over a newly disclosed federal directive which says Canada's military spies can collect your personal data as long as it supports a legitimate investigation. And a look at weekend weather. It has been a beautiful spring day, although we could possibly get a thunderstorm this evening yet. Partly cloudy overnight with a low of 9, and for tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud with a west wind gusting from 30 to 50 and a high of 20. Many Canadians suffer from anxiety and depression, which are perhaps more common than we realize. Sarah Ball is someone who overcame severe anxiety issues, and she is the author of A Survivor's Guide to Overcoming Anxiety. Hal Roberts has that interview next. But first, here's a look at what's happening in and around your community.
Here's your Bridge City News community calendar. Kick off your summer with Alberta Blue Cross and Silverbird Group's Street Eats Festival on Saturday, June 15th, beginning at 11 a.m. at the NMAX Centre parking lot. Enjoy delicious and unique food truck cuisines, a kid zone, entertainment, and an eating contest. This event is in support of Lethbridge Family Services. For more information, visit lfsfamily.ca. Devil's Coulee Dinosaur and Heritage Museum, located in Warner, Alberta, is now open until September 2nd. Take a tour of the Dinosaur Gallery, heritage exhibits, and military displays. Visit Charlie the Baby Dinosaur, dig in a simulated bone bed, and see an actual nesting site. For more information, visit devilcoulee.com. And that's your Bridge City News community calendar.